Oh well, whilst I'm name dropping, there's three guys I guess I should mention. You'd think that having worked with people so closely for a number of years, you get to know them, and to know what makes them tick. But we each had our own little worlds going on, and I'm sure never let ourselves truly discover each other as friends. We were working partners. We each had our own little entourage of people, friends, lovers, teachers, leeches. Like a marriage, if you're lucky enough to survive, you assess your feelings and emotions. What if I had said this or done this? Why didn't I arrive at that point of view then? And so on. So, I'll try now, after a 20-year relationship, to explain Mike, Mickey, and Peter, as I saw them then, and as I know them now. I'll start with Peter because he was the most well-rounded of us all. Genuine, reliable, and huggable. Peter is a natural person. He really gets off on talent. He loves other musicians and can jam along with the best of them. I saw him holding his own with Hendrix and Stills and Neil Young. He encouraged me no end. He bought me my first guitar and my first drum kit. He went about his work as an actor in the studio, showing the same natural approach as he did with his music. He would stop acting and peer through the camera lens to find out how it looked in the middle of a take. Let me look. Wait a minute. I'm not there. Of course I'm not. I'm here. Peter wore what I call drainpipe trousers. Never really got into the fashions. He had his own. The first guy I ever met who wore different coloured socks. He wore his belt buckle on the side. He hated boots. Always had on sandals or moccasins. He used to walk with a swagger, swinging his arms with a confident air. He calmed hysteria and he lifted depression. Dried bananas, anyone? Piece of orange? Smiling, waving, running his hand through his hair. He knew all the crew by their first names. Kids crying at his feet, he lifted and hugged like a father calming a child. Joked a lot about Peter giving everything away, but it was true. He was always giving his spare room to someone who needed it for the night. Anyone. And he always seemed far away, somewhere, in a different space. But I'm glad I know him. Of all the things he gave me lots of laughs and food for thought. Mike Nesmith. Nesmith was always a true professional. He and Peter were always concerned about how it sounded musically, or even how it looked. When we did those tight group shots, we were all miming. He'd be the one who'd notice that we weren't plugged in, and he'd put it right, just in case the camera picked it up. Nesmith cared. He'd finish a day's filming by climbing onto his motorbike, or jumping into his dark blue Cadillac Eldorado that he turned up in on the first day of shooting. Nothing subtle about the Texas kid. Actually, he had a couple of singles on Colpix Records prior to the Monkees, so he was doing all right. He always had 2 or 3 cars at a time, come to think of it. But he knew how to look after his money, did Mike. He liked style. Nez and his Cadillac limousine, his English bodyguard chauffeur, Alfie Weaver, and his trained German shepherd killer dog called Frack, who once sank his teeth into my head without leaving the ground. Mike was always bigger and better. Something about being from Texas, I suppose. Mickey Dolenz. Who? Oh, Mickey, right. Well, he's a different skillet of fish altogether. Now, if you ever saw Mickey on the Monkee show, he was playing himself. A tough role, but somebody had to do it. Mickey's the kind of guy who buys a do-it-yourself gyrocopter. He gets all the huge parts laid out in his living room. It takes forever to make the thing. Everybody's falling over bits of gyrocopter for weeks. Nobody wants to visit him because they know they'll have to sit on a rotor blade or something. Finally, he gets the whole thing assembled. Right, let's take it out and fly. But it won't go through the door. He has to completely dismantle the thing to get it outside. I don't think he ever did build it up again. He got bored with it. He once bought this most beautiful, incredible 1929 Bentley. It cost him a fortune. He had it flown over from England and delivered to his house. We were all there to see it. It was gorgeous. British racing green, original paint job. Well, there it was, and we're all looking at it and sitting in it and wondering if we dare take this beautiful piece of art onto the open road. We decide to wait. So, we're all inside having tea, admiring how half-finished gyrocopter obscures the view on just about everything. When we hear this strange squeaking, crunching sound. We get to the door just in time to see the car rolling backwards off the driveway. Mickey goes chasing after it, but it's all downhill. It winds its way for about 50 yards, up an embankment, turns over, and lands on its back. The most beautiful car in the world dead.